Williams, who tosses it up from midcourt, a three-point play, which turned out to be maybe instrumental. Stay tuned. You'll find out.
And the Big Ten. Now he's trying to resurrect a basketball program in the ACC at the University of Maryland. His challenge has been mollified by the presence of a player who bears his name, 6'8" point guard Walt the Wizard Williams. But tonight's task will not be easy as the Terrapins face Rutgers. The Scarlet Knights have already shocked Missouri, and Gary Williams is well aware he's in enemy territory.
I think Rutgers could be the favorite playing here, which is really another home court for them, and the fact that they have those transfers in playing now and return the first five from last year, they're really a solid team.
Well, I think Gary is very politically oriented, being from Washington, D.C. the way he is. I think we're certainly the team that's the closest to the Garden, and hopefully will have the largest fan following.
If your players can't get ready to play in the Garden, then they can't get ready to play. I mean, this is where I think every college basketball player should at least play once before their career's over.
Coming up, Maryland meets Rutgers at the ECAC Holiday Festival.
ECAC Holiday Festival is brought to you.
The 39th annual ECAC Holiday Festival. Tonight in opening round action, the University of Maryland battles Rutgers University. Coach Bob Wenzel's Rutgers club is struggling. After a stunning 5-0 start, they've dropped their last two. The most recent setback was a 14-point thrashing at the hands of Seton Hall University at the Meadowlands Arena. Meanwhile, Coach Gary Williams' Maryland club is Bucky Waters, and we have an interesting matchup in the opening round of the ECAC Holiday Festival. Rutgers against Maryland, two clubs looking for some identity.
Well, both of these teams have had glory years, and they will again, but right now their teams in a bit of disarray. You've outlined some of the problems, but in Rutgers' case in particular, they expected much more this year. These are two teams who need this win very badly.
Well, the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers aren't too concerned right now because the record is 5-2. They are 3-0 in the Atlantic 10, and Keith Hughes is doing a nice job up front.
I loved Bob Wenzel's term warrior. I mean, this has been the one consistent guy. The Jersey native who transferred from Syracuse is a stud. He can go outside at 6'8.5". He's been double-doubles for the last 6 games. There's the warrior part of him, filling the lane, running and stuffing, but he can't do it all himself. Part of Wenzel's problem is he wanted to press. With a depleted squad, if he presses, he'll run Hughes out of gas offensively.
Well, the Terrapins of Maryland are currently 4-3, and Massenberg and Mustaf are guard position. Maryland goes 6'8" and 6'6". Rutgers 6'4" and 6'1". I asked Coach Bob Wenzel how he'll adjust to the height disadvantage facing Rutgers.
You try to pressure as much as you can. I think Walt Williams, a 6'9" point guard, and Matt Rowe, as you referred to, they're big people. And with Williams, we have a very good defensive guard named Mike Jones on our team, and he can pressure people. And if you can get Williams thinking more about him than thinking about Maryland's offense, that could help us.
So coming up at Madison Square Garden, the 5th meeting ever between Rutgers and Maryland, the series deadlocked at 2 wins.
Saturday, February 9th,
to Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. Tonight, it's the ECAC Holiday Festival with our first game featuring the Terrapins of Maryland and the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. Here are the starting lineups. At forward for Maryland, number 4, Matt Rowe. And at forward for Rutgers, number 31, Keith Hughes. At forward for Maryland, number 21, Garfield Smith. And at forward for Rutgers, number 44, Donnell Lumpkin. At center for Maryland, number 43, Cedric Lewis. And at center for Rutgers, number 54, Brent Dabbs. At guard for Maryland, number 22, Kevin McClinton. And at guard for the Scarlet Knights, number 10, Mark Redden. At guard for Maryland. Head coach of Maryland is Gary Williams. Head coach of the Scarlet Knights, Bob Wenzel. Tonight's officials are Mickey Crowley, Joe Mingle, and Gene Monchi. Play ball.
So it's Rutgers against Maryland, and that means that Keith Hughes and Matt Rowe, teammates at Syracuse during the 87-88 season, will go head-to-head. They both shared some thoughts with us.
Oh, Matt Rowe, he's been a friend of mine since, I think, senior year in high school when I met him at five-star camp. And then we became real closer at Syracuse. So going into that game, I have a little battle with him. I'm sure I'm going to talk to him before we play. And it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
As far as when you cross the court, you know, you have to put all your friendships aside and just go out and play basketball.
It's ball game. Mickey Crowley, Gene Monchi, and Joe Mingle. And here's a look at the matchup. Some changes on the part of both teams. Lumpkin in the starting lineup for Rutgers, along with Redden in the backcourt. And for Maryland, it will be Kevin McClinton getting the start, and Rowe moves up front. Opening tip-off to the Maryland Terrapins in red, the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers in the home white. Matt Rowe puts it up first and hits. This is the fifth meeting between these two teams, but the last one was back in 1951-52. Here's Mark Redden getting the start in place of Craig Carter. Earl Duncan is out with a foot injury for Rutgers. They're not sure when they'll get him back. And on the airborne, Maryland with the basketball. Williams, beautiful look up front to Smith, who lays it up and in.
Pressure, pressure, pressure. Say Gary Williams and you think press. Not as much full court this year because this is a slow team, a non-athletic team by his standards.
Well, Donnell Lumpkin, who had such a marvelous game at the Garden last year against St. John's, hits his first bucket, and it's 4-2, and Rutgers shows some pressure. Matt Rowe outside to Walt the Wizard Williams, a 6'8" point guard. And a foul called. It's a reach, and it's on Donnell Lumpkin, or is it Mike Jones? It's on Mike Jones. And Jones, one of the better defensive players in the Atlantic 10. Williams has it from side court. Maryland comes in off 2 straight wins. They're 4-3 in the year, and Matt Rowe hits a 3-pointer. So Rowe, who played well in his last ball game against Lafayette, may have found his shooting touch.
Bad news for Rutgers. When Rowe gets off to that kind of a start, he's the kind of a shooter that can shoot the lights out on you.
7-2 Maryland. A minute and a half gone by, first half of play. Brent Dabbs has it rejected, and it goes out of bounds. Rutgers will keep possession, but a pretty good block there by Cedric Lewis, who has 38 blocks now on the season.
Number 3 in the country. We'll get to see number 1 in this tournament. The big fella, Sean Bradley, but Lewis, amazing timing. 2 brothers, both of them had the same genes in the legs. Both of them for Maryland.
And Lewis is only 6'9". Sean Bradley, we'll see with BYU during the Holiday Festival, is 7'6". Now Maryland running again, and it's Walt Williams penetrating, dishing off. And the jumper by Kevin McClinton is good. And Maryland with a roaring 9-2 lead.
You know, Bruce Gary was saying how slow this team is. Slowest team he ever coached, all the way back to Woodrow Wilson High School. But how controlled they are on that break.
And once again in transition, it's Williams. A little behind the back. Matt Rowe free for 3. And the rebound pulled down by Garfield Smith, but he loses it out of bounds. Maryland very aggressive here in the early going.
Boy, they really have come to play. Hughes trying to just eel his way through there. Malik Sealy might have made that play. Hughes too bulky. And the Terrapins running a little quicker than the Turtle, but very, very effective at finishing the break, at least so far.
Brent Dabbs puts it up and in. A friendly rim for Brent Dabbs, the transfer from the University of Virginia, who sat out last year. Dabbs averaging 12 points per ball game. Still really hasn't found his stride. Williams for 3. He hits it. Nothing but net for the Wizards.
That could have been an NBA tree. I'm not sure he was out there.
It is 12-4 Terrapins. Mark Redden, Dabbs, nice move. Dabbs with his own board. Foul called. It will be 2 shots for Brent Dabbs.
transfer from Virginia. Boy, this Rutgers team had high hopes at the beginning of the year. Veteran team, everybody back, and it's just been just an early season of calamity. Started off with 5 wins, and then not just 2 losses in a row, but two in the neighborhood, and they are painful. Princeton just did an autopsy on them, as they've done on many others, and the Seton Hall win in the Meadowlands. So they're on a 2-game losing streak. The 5 wins long forgotten.
Dabbs connects at the line, and it's 12-6 Maryland. And a steal. Jones with it. He pulls up. He hits, and Rutgers quickly cuts the lead to 4. Rutgers showing full court pressure.
All the way down.
Garfield Smith outside to Williams. Walt along the baseline, hammered away by Jones, and that's the defense he's known for.
Well, we talked about the mismatch in the guards. Jones went up there and just took it right off the top of his head at 6'8".
Rowe fires it in to Kevin McClinton. Williams handles the ball at 6'8", handles it well.
I think he has it on a string.
Yeah, he's not lightning quick, but he's got great ball control. And an offensive foul is called against Maryland. So all of a sudden, Rutgers has roared back.
Part of it is Rutgers got to apply the pressure. They weren't scoring early, and it's pretty tough to set up a press. Maryland was just beating them down the floor.
Foul was called on Lewis. As you see, the Terps shooting it well, and Williams comes up with a steal. 2-on-1 with Smith. He threads the needle perfectly, and a foul is called on Mark Redden.
Again, guards are not used to having a 6'8" guy out there with those arms, almost like an anteater. You think you're a safe distance away, but he just flicks in and gets it. Many times from behind. That was an excellent pass. A lot of times the 6'8" guard is, because of his size, throws a bounce pass, and the ball comes up high. They have to learn to bend their knees so that ball will come back up waist high.
Garfield Smith hits the first free throw. He's an interesting story in the fact that he's a key recruit coming out of community college, Coffeyville Community College, but originally from New York. He did not play high school basketball for Evander Childs his senior year. He did play for Our Savior Lutheran his junior year, and really where he blossomed was in that fabled Riverside Church program for Ernie Lord. So he's coming home and ready to play Rutgers tonight. Lumpkin breaks the press, puts it in. Basket will not count, offensive foul. And going down to take the offensive was Cedric Lewis. The man can block shots, and he can draw the charge. We'll be back.
Player. He characterized the way he coaches right now. Number 14 down there in the middle is from Collingswood High School, which happened to be my high school down there in the Camden area of Jersey. Always kidding me about why I didn't recruit him to Duke. The reason is he couldn't shoot. He had about a 13-foot range, and we had a couple of guys at Duke at that time by the name of Bob Berger from Spring Lake, New Jersey, and Steve Vasindak, both of whom went on to play professional basketball. So he learned his lessons well, but I couldn't tell. I loved him. Loved the way he played defense, but he just didn't have the range.
Donnell Lumpkin puts it up from three-point land, and the rebound to McClinton. 14-8, Maryland leads Rutgers. Wide open is Garfield Smith for the slam. The Terps lead it by 8.
Defensive transition right now by Rutgers, very poor. Just a lot of outnumbering situations, and we keep pointing out this is a slow Maryland team.
Hughes has position, and the foul is called on Garfield Smith. Good look inside by Dabbs. And Rutgers will inbound inside court. Now Craig Carter, who is usually as a part of that starting lineup, checks in for Rutgers, replacing Mark Redden.
Bob Wenzel going to his bench, trying to get some offense.
Jones outside to Lumpkin. Rutgers down by 8. Here's Jones. Craig Carter, who doesn't ever worry about being tentative. He's very creative, but sometimes he is error-prone. And it's Williams again with the basketball for Maryland. He pops for 3. Might have been deflected. Rebound put up and in by Evers Burns, the sophomore from Baltimore. And it is 18-8 Maryland.
Both of these teams are streaky because both of them like to put on pressure. And that means you've got to do it after a score.
Lumpkin for three. He hits. And it's 18-11 Terps.
The Maryland strategy, trying to get that ball in bounds before the Rutgers press is set up. It's looked good sometimes, but if you don't get the quick getaway, you're left with 4 ball handlers back there facing the press, and then you get one of those Hail Mary passes.
But that Rutgers press thus far has caused some confusion.
Oh, yeah. Both of these teams really get after you. I made the point in the open. Both of these teams struggling a little bit now. But they've had great years, and there'll be more.
Cedric Lewis, unselfish feed to McClinton, who lays it up and in. So the Terps go up by 9, 22-11.
If you've been a Gary Williams watcher in the Big Ten and the Big East, and now in the ACC, you know he comes after you with relentless full-court pressure. And we made the point with this slow club, he's backed it up. 3/4, half.
Carter with the ball. Jones, he hits.
Oh, he had his tonsils checked on that one, too. Cedric Lewis was right up there with a swatter.
Matt Rowe takes the baseline, dishes off. And almost an embarrassing miss, but Evers Burns gets the basket and a foul.
He dunked that one by hitting the bottom of the rim with top spin, and it just snuggled up and over. Watch this Rowe. Penetrates now. Much better passer than he's been given credit for. That sucker hit below the top, halfway up the rim, and walked over and down. You're right. That would have been embarrassing.
So Burns goes to the free throw line. He weighs just under 250. He was a tight end in high school. He's up about 15, 20 pounds from last year. Nice stroke, though.
You say just under is right. If he's under at all, it's not much.
23-13 our score. Maryland with the lead. 13-20 to go first half.
Another different look now. 1-3-1 trap. Real problems with a 6'8" guy on the point, who will also go on the floor. Look at this recovery.
Once again, it's Burns knocked away, and a foul is called on Mike Jones, and he's upset with it. That is the second personal on Jones, and he thought he got the ball cleanly.
Maryland showing that 1-3-1 for the first time. Caught Rutgers unawares. 6'8", point guard on the floor, rolling around, gets it out, and the Terrapins are moving. Not at great speed, but they are moving.
Bobby Wenzel, head coach of Rutgers in his 3rd year.
Boy, they were
First Rutgers grad to come back and coach at his alma mater.
played for a good one, too, and Bill Foster there. Coach with Foster at Duke. Went down and started to carve out his own career at Jacksonville. These are 2 of the brighter, younger coaches. When I say younger, I say it because I'm older than they are, but they're certainly not rookies anymore. Proven.
Here's Lumpkin for 3. Nothing but net for Donnell Lumpkin, and Rutgers cuts the lead to 7. In the ballgame for Rutgers is number 33, Charles Weiler, who is a freshman from Haddonfield, New Jersey. Here's Matt Rowe for the Terps. Takes the baseline. And the ball taken away by Weiler to Mark Redden, as Rutgers looks to push it a little bit.
Just love the way these 2 teams get after you.
Carter, who gets a little creative, as I mentioned, and sometimes a little crazy. Williams back for the Terps. Now both teams a little bit screwy with the basketball, a little bit sloppy. Williams, good dish inside to Burns, who puts it in. And Burns has come off the bench. And given the scrum a lift, he is 5.
Carter and Redden doing a terrific job defensively out there, but Walt Williams just goes right over the top of him. There, look at that.
That's the advantage of that 6'8" player being out front. McClinton and a foul call.
Rutgers backcourt has to stagger. They're remaining parallel so that when Walt Williams gets in the gap between them, he's making a very tough pass. That off guard has to either take a step back or a step forward to give that guard with the ball a passing lane. Otherwise, they're going to have to throw that ball high enough to get ice on it all night, and that's going to make a lot of time for the rest of the defense to switch when they try to reverse the ball.
McClinton at the free throw line for 2. He had a stress fracture in his left leg and played only 6 games last year. Sophomore from Silver Spring, Maryland. And he is the son of the McClinton that played for the Washington Redskins, was an all-star middle linebacker, and who was tragically killed in an automobile accident back in 1978. We'll take a break. Maryland with the lead.
At 6'8½", seeing that Maryland defense, and he's been frustrated. He hasn't scored yet, and he's just going to sit this one out. Thank you very much. I'll wait till the dance comes back my way.
So Maryland on a pretty good 7-2 run, and they lead it 27-16. Almost another steal by the Terps. Oh, gorgeous execution. Redden finding Hughes on the alley-oop.
A rather circuitous route to that slam dunk. What an adventure. 5 or 6 sets of prints on that ball before it got in the net. Most of them were Maryland's.
So Hughes finally on the scoreboard, and he is a key for Rutgers. He's got to score. A couple of opportunities underneath for Maryland, and Bob Wenzel can't be pleased about that boxing out stretch. Burns answers with a jumper.
Deceptive left-handed stroke. A little bigger, he looked like Willis Reed.
A lot bigger.
A lot bigger, yeah. Well, he's 250, just a little under 250.
29-18. Hughes puts it up. Rebound to Rowe. Maryland doing a good job on both boards right now. Burns called for an offensive foul. And Burns has come off the bench. He's averaging 8 per game. He's already got in this ball game 9.
Here he comes from the weak side. A little bit of frustration in this one. He finally gets in the scoring column, and he does it with authority. At that charge at the other end, Gary Williams up and applauding. He'll take those errors of commission anytime.
Weiler through the hands of Hughes and out of bounds. You know, I asked Bob Wenzel how good this Rutgers club is. He says, I really don't know. It's a little bit too early. And certainly the Seton Hall game indicated that the team has a ways to go. Beautiful backdoor. That's Rowe showing he can pass as he finds Williams.
Bob Wenzel better figure out a way to stop that, because if that one goes, they'll look at it plenty.
Mark Redden double team. Hughes thought about the 3. Backs in. Finds Carter in the lane. Good look to Weiler. 31-20. Maryland by 11. We're inside of 10 minutes to go in the first half.
Rutgers backed out of that press. After the score, they had a chance. That's interesting. Both teams a little thin.
And again, it is the man hitting the left-handed jumper. Evers Burns now at 11.
Again, 3-quarter court pressure. Weiler in the middle, a 6'9" freshman. I don't know about that.
Lumpkin goes glass for 2, and Lumpkin looks good offensively. And this is his first start of the year.
That time Weiler handled the ball well. Just a moment ago, he ripped one by at Nolan Ryan's speed. A wide open Keith Hughes underneath.
Williams missing the rebound to Carter. Rutgers down by 11. 9 minutes to go, first half. Carter penetrates, puts it up with the left hand. It's deflected. And Rowe has it. 3-on-3 the other way. Williams down the lane and traveling call. Substitutions for both clubs. For Maryland, Garfield Smith and Kevin McClinton check in. For Rutgers, Darrell Smith. So let's set the floor for you. For Rutgers, it's Redden and Carter in the backcourt. Darrell Smith, Hughes, and Dabbs up front. For Maryland, McClinton and Matt Rowe. Also on the floor is Garfield Smith, Evers Burns, and Broadnax, Vince Broadnax.
1-3-1. Walt Williams is out of there. A lot easier to attack.
Carter to Smith for an easy 2.
With McClinton on top of that 1-3-1 at half court, he's only 6'3". Rutgers solved it easily, went right to the box and scored.
Burns. This time it's an air ball. But again, the offensive board's controlled by the Terps as Smith runs it down. Burns twisting, rejected, but a foul called on Hughes.
In the chess game of coaches now, Gary Williams able to rest Walt Williams a little bit. So far, Wenzel unable to rest Hughes.
Well, they said that Evers Burns had to go to the hoop more, Bucky. I think he's answered.
Well, I tell you, he can go to the hoop now. People are going to play him honest the way he's been stroking that J.
And Williams gets a short blow and checks back into the game. And he was in the top 20 in 5 different categories last year in the ACC. What a bad stat.
I mean, really, you look at that conference with Crotty and Corciani and Anderson and Hurley. Williams, although a much different type, the others are more your midget prototypes, but he's right up there with them.
Well, it helped having Mustaf and Massenberg to dish to. Foul called. Williams got caught trying to make the steal and sneak down court and hang a little bit. Got called for the reach of Craig Carter. After the Terps, that is 5 team fouls. Coming up on 8 minutes to go in the first half. Bruce Beck and Bucky Waters from Madison Square Garden in the ECAC Holiday Festival. It's the 39th edition. Darrell Smith has some problems. Carter helps him out. Rutgers going with a small lineup right now. Carter for Dabbs, and a foul called on Burns. Rutgers getting some penetration that time.
Well, the 3 guards will help that. They've got 2 big men and 3 little guards. They'll pay for that on the boards, though.
10-point lead for the Terrapins. Timeout on the court. First half of play. Waters back at the Garden, and Evers Burns has done a nice job off the bench for the Terps.
Really has the kind of depth that Gary's looking for to get that defense going and be able to play people. Nice little fall away there. Good looking stroke.
Burns gets a breather. And on the inbound speed, Keith Hughes muscles it up. And the rebound to Williams, who does a little bit of everything. Williams dishing off. And a foul called underneath. Garfield Smith at excellent position. And he'll go to the line for 2.
They're going right at Hughes. Foul trouble is something Rutgers cannot stand with the big fella. And when you're tired, and I believe he is a little bit, Dabbs is coming for him.
Second foul on Mike Jones. Now Donnell Lumpkin checks back in for the Scarlet Knights, replacing Craig Carter. Lumpkin already in this ball game has 10 points. Last year against St. John's, he had 16 and made 4 3-pointers in 12 attempts. He was firing, I know that, most of the game.